question.
Do you have an answer?
Chair, with the east-west link, it was actually looking at coming through the Mangere or Tahuhu local board. So this whole project started a few years ago in regards to the consultative process. Now as you can see with the east-west link, it's actually coming through. All the cycling and everything else, we've been consulted in regard to that with the new bridge replacing the old one, if you understand what I'm saying. So all the cycling and pedestrian stuff we're getting consulted about, but it's now changed the actual coming through along the Maungakeke Tamaki side. So for us, everything's now changed. It's not actually coming through. There was a few issues 3 years ago. I know that much. There were some issues around it coming through, cutting through properties in Mangere. That's no longer the case now.
Well, it's still, through the chair, have been good to have a report from the board in that respect. My other question is about the contentious issue of rail to the airport. And I mean, I've now been in 2 forums where I've heard different views from NZTA and council officers. Can you explain, please, one of the public concerns in paragraph 13 on our page 87 about the opportunities for achieving future rail connections to the airport? That's one of the public's concerns, and one of mine too.
We have been advised by the NZTA project team on East-West Link that the East-West Link project will not preclude a rail corridor.
That's what we heard from them directly, and that's been challenged.
Okay, that's the information we're operating under.
Yep.
Okay. Finished, Councillor Casey? Yep. Okay.
I suppose just my other comment was that paragraph 13 is quite a condensed view of all the issues that are of concern to the public. It would have been quite good to have each of those issues have a paragraph in itself. So I was going to ask you just to go through them maybe and say a bit more about the concerns, because these are the issues that will come up during whatever inquiry is going to be had.
Through the Madam Chair, do you want?
I'm just a little, I can understand the question. I just think that the process, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. The process here is, are we agreeing with a board of inquiry? And that then gives us the opportunity to raise, digest and expand on all of these issues. I think it's presumptive to, or kind of presuming that we have the answers. We need to raise the questions and the concerns, get that out to our community, take it far and wide, work with our local boards to do that. I think it's a little bit premature, Councillor Casey.
Well, it would be true today that we're signing off a road.
No,
it will happen.
No, Councillor,
let's. It will happen the way it's been determined in the maps here.
I need to be. Sorry, you're quite incorrect, and I'm not going to have incorrect information perpetuated in this chamber. The reality is this is a board of inquiry that is being initiated, and we're in no way being seen to sign this off. And I think if we were, there would certainly be some dissenting voices around the council chamber, of which one would be mine. So, let's be very clear about the process here, and let's be very clear that the council submission, I would imagine, would be pretty searching and hard-hitting as needed. So I do not agree that we're signing off this road today. Am I correct?
Correct.
I thought the route was as stated in the map here, isn't it?
This is the what's currently on consultation is the map shown in the presentation. What will go to the Board of Inquiry if the Minister for Environment decides the Board of Inquiry process is the way they wish to go, will be applications for notices of requirement to designate a route and accompanying resource consents for the construction of the project.
Yeah, this route.
But the Board of Inquiry could still say no.
Or change it.
Yeah.
So, let's be very clear about that. We have the media here and we have the community observing, and we are constantly being portrayed as making decisions that we have never made nor are making. And, today we're deciding on whether to support a board of inquiry. Let's be very clear about that. Next
Sorry, just to
question.
prolong this, but at water view, the route was decided by the council first, then it went to the board of inquiry, and I'm assuming that's the same here. We've got the route and it's going to the board of inquiry for its kind of working through. This is a water view.
But perhaps I could just comment on where that all fits. What's happening is that, as the Deputy Mayor says, we're asking simply about a process at the moment, but consultation is still going on, and we won't know the exact route and the exact area of the designation, for instance, until they lodge. And they lodge in terms of the Northern Corridor, I think it's late October, November, and in the case of the East-West link, it's more likely to be December. So then that will be publicly notified for submission probably well, it'll be in the first quarter of next year. So it's not until, and presumably NZTA are taking into account the comments that they're getting at the moment and bringing those into whatever their preferred route is that becomes the one that they lodge. But they've lodged nothing at the moment. You see what I mean?
But we've had a presentation on this route.
So these are routes which are likely and are being consulted on before they finalise them.
So I suppose we're presenting a report on the process in terms of how the project will be assessed and the decision maker. So whether it's council or the requiring authority or the board of inquiry or the environment court. So that's what's been asked today in terms of the report presented before you.
Okay, so I just want to be clear whether people wish to speak to the recommendation or ask questions. So I've got still got Councillor Crum and Darby, but I think you might, yes, I've got you, Councillor Lee. I've got Councillor Lee and Quacks. I've got you both. I just need to know, are you asking questions or are you speaking to the recommendation?
A question.
Then go.
Madam Chair, I wonder if it's an oversight, but I would have thought that the delegation would have included, or the chair of the infrastructure committee in B. And I'm surprised to note that Councillor Lee is not on that list, and I think he should be.
Yes.
Okay, it's fine.
I wonder if we could have him added to that list.
I think that's absolutely fine. In fact, I think, can I talk about the local board? Yeah. And we'd also talked, sorry, I thought some changes had been made. I know we also raised the local board, the local board chair, and just as part of that. So I'm sorry, that might have been a little bit slow. So we'll add in the local board chair to that list. So was that your only question, Councillor Quacks?
So we've added the local board chair, Simon Randall, and the chair of the infrastructure committee, Councillor Lee. Is that correct?
That's what they're doing. Councillor Lee.
Ngā mihi mahana o te rā. Madam Chair, members, this really is at this stage a matter of process. And I'm concerned that one, we're getting ahead of the process, and two, getting into a situation where we, without careful consideration, are shortchanging our own responsibilities and our responsibilities to the community. This is a call-in procedure that the government put into the Resource Management Act in 2009 to fast-track big projects. And you can understand why, given their political objectives and philosophy and their constant concerns with the Resource Management Act that incidentally that government passed, or a previous national government passed in 1991 when it was about that thin, and keep on amending it till it's about that thick. But however, basically is this, we are being asked to go along with a fast track process, not the standard Resource Management Act process. Now, is this legally and logically appropriate is the question we should be asking. Is this a matter of national urgency? And there are 10 criteria in the Act which the Minister, before calling in, has to address. And if I may, Madam Chair, go through these points, I'd have to question Mr McClelland's interpretation of those points. Arouse widespread public concern or interest. What I'm picking up at this stage is a lot of people are bemused and puzzled about the East-West link. So rather than widespread public concern or interest, there seems to be, apart from a lack of knowledge, not a high amount of public engagement. At this stage, at least, it is not a controversial topic in terms of widespread public concern. So I have a question mark over that one. Involves significant use of natural and physical resources. Well, 1.8 billion, that's a lot of resources, I guess, but compared to other projects, maybe not. But the other thing that's a bit of a worry is the 1.2 to 1.8, which is like a $500 million wobbly bit that we're not sure of. Then we've got, to really adequately answer that question, it affects a structure, feature, place or area of national significance. Well, the foreshore along Pikes Point has never been considered of national significance in terms of what really is of national significance in terms of legal national parks and features like that. So that's a question mark as well. Affects New Zealand's international obligations to the global environment. With all due respect, Madam Chair, Kiwis walking and cycling probably is not going to have a huge impact on the global environment, and actually you can walk and cycle along there right now. So I would say that's a negative thought. Results in significant or irreversible changes to the environment, including the global environment. I don't know about the global environment, Madam Chair. This was the former Pikes Point area. Technology processes that are new, I don't think so. Is significant in terms of the Treaty of Waitangi? Well, probably it is. Most things are, so we could say that's a yes. Will assist the Crown in fulfilling its public health, welfare, security or safety obligations. This is serious stuff, members. That means something. Does this really? I don't think so. Affects one region or district, more than one region or district? No. With all due respect, going from Onehunga to Penrose is not really going very far at all. It relates to a network utility and so on. Madam Chair, I question that, and even the chair of the local board, with all due respect, seemed to be confused about what was locally important, regionally important and nationally important, and I guess he, in the end, he ticked all of the above boxes, but of course you would, wouldn't you, if you represent that area. But what I didn't hear from him was the views of his board and the views of the Onehunga Penrose community about this and whether they want a fast track. Now, it was pointed out that the applicant, NZTA, could go straight to the Environment Court, and that is considered to be a dire prospect. Now, the only case that I'm familiar with that happening were the proposers of the Matiatia Marina at Waiheke Island, and they believe they could shut out the community or fast track their project by going directly to the Environment Court, and lo and behold, the Environment Court went out of its way to have the most open, user-friendly, inclusive, positive process that you could have had. And actually, it worked out quite well. And I believe the community got the result they wanted anyway. So going directly to the Environment Court is not necessarily a dire prospect for the community. I believe that the case has not been made, especially at this point when we don't even know the actual route yet to go along with the fast-track process. So at this stage, Madam Chair, without directly contradicting everything the officer has said, there are severe questions raised here, and I don't think the case has been made for us to go along with a fast track at this point in time.